It's time for conversations. Who? What? How? Why?
Don't judge me until you know me. Don't underestimate me until you challenge me. And don't talk about me until you talk to me. Or better yet, mind your business and stop minding mine.
What will be today's conversation? Understanding viewpoints, educating, and stimulating discussions. It's time to connect to T-Horne, your host. It's time for conversations.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with yours truly, T-Horne Uncool. So, another episode, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about, what we're about to do, because of the simple fact that we're doing our first part 2. Yes, that means it got so intense, so crazy. Well, crazy, not so much crazy. It just, we got so in depth with our conversation, and there was so much emotion and so much truth and so much understanding and so much enlightenment behind the last conversation that we couldn't even finish in the last 2-hour segment we had. So we got to continue it on. And the topic, of course, is the acceptance of homosexuality. I'm excited to get into this topic because after the first part of this segment, I got a lot of love because it's crazy, I guess, to see a straight black man standing in the gap for the LGBT community, especially my Christian background. But fact of the matter is, I'm all about positivity overall. That's all I'm about. That's all I'm ever going to be about. So let's push that. I'm pushing P. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, let's go ahead and invite our guests onto the screen so they can give their insight. And we got new guests too. So we get more insight than we did last time. So if we could, let's invite our guests onto the screen so they can be part of the conversation. Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing?
How's everything?
Hey.
Good. So, hey T-Horne, Love Reigns, what's up, man? How you doing? Man,
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Let me say this, y'all. Last time we had this conversation last week, I'm telling you, T-Horne, aka Love Reigns, became a superstar on my page. Everybody loved you last week. I just want you to know that, okay? You were popular. But that conversation was so good. We got some new people. We got Miss Haley Hendricks. We got Marcus Smoot. And real quick, we know about T-Horne. Everybody knows about me. Tell us a little about yourselves. I'm sorry, not Haley. Harley. My apologies.
It's okay. That's all right. That R be had, and that's all right. I get Haley all the time. I'm not upset. But hi, guys. My name is Harley. I like to call myself a professional imaginary friend because if you name it, I probably do it or I dabble. And I am just a virtual reminder that you're not alone in this world. I actually am a professional listener by trade, so I listen to people all day.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. It's a joke real quick because when I made the poster, I saw you put motivational mermaid, and now I'm getting a professional imaginary friend. I love the energy, man. I love it.
I am probably the person above 30 that you know that wears cat ears on a daily basis. This is how I dress when I go outside my home. And I never decided to grow up, but I also take care of my responsibilities as an adult. So leave me my cat ears alone.
Gotcha. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You be the best you can possibly be, all right? Mr. Smoot, am I saying that right? Smoot?
You are. That's correct.
All right, you go ahead and tell the guests a little bit about yourself and who you are, sir.
Marcus Smoot, WRTR Real Talk Radio. A Will Drink Night turned podcast, turned radio show, turned TV show, turned podcast again. So I've done a little bit of just about everything that to do, much like the young lady before me. Looking forward to this conversation, and it was intriguing to watch you guys last week and just to see the conversations that unfolded. And I felt, maybe my insight could be a little bit more helpful along with, the things and the perspectives already shared.
Got you. T-Horne, if you want to go ahead and just reintroduce everybody to you and what you're about.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, first of all, for having me again. My name is T-Horne Love Reigns Warwood. I'm a poet. and I guess I consider myself a community activist, and advocate for all things positive and peaceful and love.
Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. We might have another guest coming on tonight. We haven't gotten in contact with them, but we're going to wait patiently. We're going to continue on until they decide to show up. So speaking of, Mr. Smoot, you said you watched us last week. Speaking of last week, I want to recap on some things to start the conversation that we went over last week that T-Horne brought to my attention that, honestly, being a straight Black male, I didn't look at certain things from certain viewpoints. And she brought a lot of enlightenment to make me look at things a lot differently. So the three conversations I'm going to start to recap on last week. The first one is we want to talk about religion versus homosexuality. That was a big one because, when it comes to the LGBT community, the churches and religion gives a lot of pushback and a lot of negativity because of that. And they're treated a certain type of way by these people who are supposed to represent love and supposed to represent bringing people together, but they end up doing the exact opposite. Another thing I want to talk about that, T-Horne, you really brought this to my attention. Are Black men the biggest enemy of the LGBT community? When me and T-Horne were talking last week, it was a big thing that like I said earlier, that I am a straight Black male representing and being on the side of the LGBT community, even though I don't live that lifestyle. That was a big thing. And I didn't know how big it was until T-Horne was like, hey, this is a big deal because most Black men, we get the most slack from Black men. So I want to talk about that too. And another thing based off last week that I wanted to hit was happiness that causes pain. One thing that my guest kept saying, and people in the LGBT community always say, that I always hear, why does who I love, why is that such a problem for you? Why does it cause you issues? Why does it cause you so much pain? And what I come to realize is that you're not causing pain. What's happening is your happiness is making other people cause you pain because they don't agree with your love and don't agree with your lifestyle and stuff like that. So, and after that, we can go free range of conversation. But I want to talk about those three subjects in particular because, like I said last week, those three things stuck out to me the most. So first, let's hit the hard one: religion versus homosexuality. T-Horne, if you could, I know we talked a lot, but could you recap on some of your experiences you dealt with dealing with the church and stuff like that, so we can catch our other guests up to speed?
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, my experiences with the church haven't always been favorable. And honestly, a lot of my experiences with the church have pushed me away from the church more than anything, and has made that a place that just it didn't feel safe for me. It doesn't feel safe. So, I told the story last week about how I went to a church with a family member when I was like 17, and the pastor called me in the back after service and, was determined to pray the gay away. He was praying for the dykes to release me. And I was 17. I was 17, and that's still something that, I still carry to this day at 41, and that's just one. That's one of many. One thing I didn't say last week was there's another time where there was a pride parade happening here, and I went to a Jacksonville church, and the pastor literally preached an entire sermon about demons being in the city and trying to take over the city because of the pride parade that was happening. So it was just, those have been some of my experiences. And like I said, those are mild in comparison to some of the other things that I've experienced with the church.
I don't know, and thank you for that, T-Horne, but I don't know, Marcus and Harley, if you guys are religious in any type of way, because I don't know your backgrounds, which I'm pretty sure we'll get more into the conversation. But I grew up my entire life in the church. Like, my dad was a pastor. I was a youth pastor at one point. I do music, and I started my music career off as a Christian hip hop artist and stuff like that. The thing that, and this is not anything to go against the church, because I'm a believer of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and I believe that people in the church or people in religion with the right hearts can do great things and bring people back, bring people to God and show God's love for what it really is. But the thing that started pushing me away wasn't it just also the treatment of the LGBT community, but there is a, how can I say this in the proper way? The church to me had become an organization instead of a way of living. And I started to see a lot of fakeness, a lot of hate, and a lot of things that went against the image that was being preached to me, you know, because we're saying one thing but doing another. We're saying show love, but everything we do shows hate. We're saying thou shalt not judge, but we're judging everybody we see. You know what I mean? And it was just a lot of stuff didn't register me the right way. So it made me go on this new path where it's like, okay, I'm gonna be exactly what love is gonna be for real. I'm gonna be exactly what understanding is gonna be for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna push this positivity for real and not just talk about it. I'm gonna be about it. With that being said, like I said, I don't know your experiences, but do you guys have any experiences where you dealt with religion because of your sexuality that may have been a problem, and not even always a problem? Sometimes their religion can be have its positive notes too when it comes to the LGBT community. So we're gonna start with ladies first. Harley, do you have any experiences you want to share by any chance?
Absolutely. So I feel like my family, in general, has always been faith adjacent. I feel like my mom has tried a lot of different faiths. I remember spending some time in the Kingdom Hall once upon a time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you off because my wife grew up in Kingdom Hall, Jehovah's Witness. So yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think that was very short-lived. I think we did like 3 years in the Kingdom Hall, and that was just very short-lived. I don't think it spoke to my mom that much. And then my brother, he became a pastor, and so we were more so in the Christian faith with him for a bit. I think less about my sexuality because I was not as open with my sexuality younger, and since I'm more feminine presenting, people will assume that, you know, I am heterosexual and they won't really have that conversation with me. It was more so because I've always been free in spirit, and I've always been a person who was very earthy, and sometimes that can be taken as fast in the church. So I've been a dancer my whole life, and sometimes, you know, I've been being told like, oh, you need to sit down, you know, you gyrating in front of men, and I'm not thinking about these men, and I'm thinking that since I'm in a space where people are supposed to be worshiping, that these men aren't thinking about me. But those were kind of more of the experiences that I got in the church, and I think that kind of pulled me away because very early on in life I started doing things like decorating my body, nose rings, tongue rings, things of that nature. And I remember a young lady at the church telling me, because my brother was a preacher, my brother was basically my father, and she goes, "You are embarrassing him in his image." And
so can I ask a question before we go deeper into this? And Mr. Smoot, if you could say the same thing. What would you say your sexual preference is, just so our viewers can have understanding?
Oh yeah, I probably say with that. I'm pansexual, so hearts not parts. If I don't want to say I don't like something if I've never experienced it, and so when that became a term, I was like, "Yay, me, yes."
Smoot, what about you?
Homosexual, definitely bona fide. Earn my wings and all that good stuff. But no, honestly, when you talk about religion and homosexuality, it goes so deep. I too was raised in a church, lots of churchy backgrounds, lots of churchy people in my family. So my, growing up gay, kind of, I didn't have, I guess, the experience that other people did with, coming to grips with who they are. Like, I knew I was gay, I knew I was different, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know why. And then when you have religion telling you that you're horrible, you just grow up thinking, oh, well, guess I'm going to hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, you grow up with that mentality. It's like everybody's telling you about to go to hell if you do this. And you see, as you grow up, as you come into, puberty, your feelings, your person, you experience something that everybody else is able to live out. Everybody else is able to do. Everybody else is able to explore. But then you're isolated in your own feelings, in your own mind, because your family has already told you that that is not a safe space to explore or to tell them about. Pastors, same thing. Religious leaders, everybody tells you that these things are bad, but there's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily an outlet for you to be able to explain.
Got you. So there was a question last week on this topic that I hit last week that I missed because we got so deep in conversation. But and I'm paraphrasing the comment, and I say paraphrasing a lot, y'all, just so y'all know, because I was trying to say stuff and I want to jack it up, but I probably do jack it up. But what was said, a comment was made saying that the church comes against the LGBT community so much, but when it comes to things like being in the choir or being a worship leader and stuff like that, they love to throw people, the LGBT community, in those positions. And it's funny. I thought that was funny because I went to a couple different high schools in Jacksonville growing up. And one of those high schools was Douglas Anderson School of the Arts. I went for visual arts, I can draw and paint, as you can see in the background, some of my paint and stuff like that and everything. But that was my first time actually encountering people of a homosexual nature. And it was shocking to me at first and everything. But then I started to see like most of these people are the most creative and most talented people and have the biggest imaginations. And a lot of them flock towards the arts. Like, for example, you know, Taryn, you know, with your poetry, Miss Harley with your creative imagination and all that, crochet, stuff like that. Mr. Marcus, you know, being on the radio, stuff like that. And, you know, that's just how it goes. So it made sense to me that when they made that comment about the church accepting those people when it comes to music and ministry and stuff like that, but they can't be deacons and ministers and stuff like that. That's kind of like an oxymoron. We'll use you for this, but we'll just put you in the forefront for our entertainment purposes, not actual ministry. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's a double-edged sword. It's kind of like you want to be angry about it because it's like, why are you using me for my gift? But I also have a platform to use my gift. So it's kind of like in a life where you know you're going to kind of get a little bit, because you're going to get a little bit no matter who you are. If I get a little bit while doing my art, I'm not mad about it.
Okay.
For me, I would say it would be insulting, kind of. You don't get to cherry pick which parts of me that you like or want to exploit or are beneficial to you to then deem my work. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What you love, Reigns?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Miss. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No. You're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think it's up to you know, just people in general. I mean, not just LGBT people, but it's up to us to go to the places where we're going to be celebrated and not just tolerated. And I think that has for a long time been one of those places where LGBT people have been tolerated, you know, to a certain extent. But it won't be until we stand up, you know what I mean, and say, you know what, no, I'm not going to be treated this way. I love this church, I love the message and all that stuff, but I'm not going to allow myself to be treated this way or to be mistreated and mishandled this way. So, you know, it's definitely something that I feel like we all have seen that, you know, more on several occasions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just up to us to be able to realize our worth, you know. It's just like when you think about black men in the NFL or any sports establishment, the NFL, the NBA, and seeing how Black folks are being treated in general in this country. And they hold the power, you know what I mean? They hold the power to be able to say, no, we're not going to stand up. You know, we're not going to stand for this. And a lot of times people just don't because of fear, you know? So I think that is something that folks are just going to have to do is be able to find the courage to be able to say, you know what? I love God, but I don't have to put up with this kind of mistreatment.
So,
Very much
okay.
So. I agree.
So we got a question from the Conversations with T-Horne page on Facebook, actually. And the question is, why is this even a topic? Why does it matter? I'm gonna let you guys go first because with this being my podcast, I definitely have an in-depth answer to that question. But with you guys, you know, So Marcus and Harley, Love Reigns already knows this, but I'm gonna give you guys a precursor to the conversation. I am trying my best to not say things in an offensive nature. So there'll be times where you'll see me think about stuff and try to change around my words, but I really don't want to be offensive. If I say anything, please feel free to correct me in the proper way to say certain terms, stuff like that, or just feel free to check me. All right, because I'm trying to be as positive as possible. I want to offend, but since you guys do live this lifestyle, why do you guys feel like this conversation matters, and why does this topic matter?
I think it's important to.
Go ahead, Harley. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's just important for people to just start conversations in general about life. And I think if we're just having these conversations on the regular, it's not taboo to have the conversation. And then if I'm a little girl growing up and I'm having urges that I don't have any control over, I don't feel afraid to have a conversation with somebody about it. I remember a time in my life where I didn't know who to talk to about the fact that I found women attractive, because all my mother ever told me was I needed to bring her a husband home and have her some kids. And so when that is not your desire, you don't know how to have that conversation. You don't know when to say, mommy, that's not what I want to do. You don't know what to do. And I think if we start having conversations consistently like this, then it gets into the ears of children. And then children can understand that I'm not bad. I just have to have a conversation about the life that I live, because it's not something that a lot of people around me do, or it is something that a lot of people around me do, and I don't have to feel alone.
Okay. Marcus, you want to give me an insight?
Picking up from her point, I guess I kind of agree, but one of the biggest things that people have a problem with when it comes to children is children being exposed to this. Like, if they're exposed to it younger, will it make them, confused? Will it make them question their own sexuality? Things that they're already kind of going through, but it is what it is. It's not something that, like you said, it's not something that we talk about often. So for those reasons, we don't get a lot of insight. And to answer the question, why is it? I don't know why it is. I don't know why we can't I don't know why gay people just can't be, why there's no places for us to be able to go to explain, or to be able to have those difficult conversations, or to be able to sort out our emotions. We don't have that. And we're supposed to be able to seek that through churches, but we don't always get that. We get, you're going to hell. That's what we get.
That's it. You're an abomination.
Yep. And it leaves us feeling alone. A lot of us create spaces like a lot of the community outreach programs are headed by LGBT people, because there's no other place. The places that should be doing it, like churches, are preaching hate, and they don't have places for us. So then we have to turn to mentors. And for those of us that don't feel like going to a community organization or aren't comfortable enough doing that, we kind of have to learn what we learn about ourselves on the street.
Yeah.
Doing us an injustice.
That's a good word to use.
I think it's the fact that it's the fact that that question is brought up is because I think it's necessary, because there are still trans people being murdered just for existing. It's a conversation, and it's a topic of conversation, because there are LGBT people who are being murdered. There are countries who are literally creating laws to kill people just for being LGBT, So that's why it's important. That's why the conversation needs to happen. Because like you mentioned earlier, for me, in my own personal, experience, I've never felt safe around Black men, and that is simply because of my sexuality. So that's why the conversation needs to happen. We need to talk about these things, and so that it won't be so taboo,
As far as my point, because with me being a straight Black male and stuff like that, And I talked to all the guests and told them all the same thing with this. One thing I've noticed about us as the human race in entirety, we always throw negativity and shade and bad vibes at things we do not understand. If it's not in the status quo or what's considered normal, so when we do something outside of the norm, people question it, people shame it, people bash it, people throw hate and negativity at it. But the thing is, my mindset has always been, if it's not doing anything to hurt anybody or cause anybody any pain, why is it a problem? That's like asking the question of why is this even a topic? Why is it a conversation? Is the same as asking why is equality as a Black person even a conversation? Why is child pornography even a conversation? My first episode, why is polygamy? All these issues that people have that they want to throw negativity and shade at, but don't want to talk about, don't want to get understanding, don't want to give people a chance to explain their side point of view or even open their mind up to, a mindset that's not set up by society today. People can't think for themselves. People are always thinking based off of what society is saying, what social media is saying, what's popular. And as soon as something goes against that, everybody's against it too. Instead of thinking for themselves, instead of talking, getting understanding, getting enlightenment, and trying to hear other people out. I was one of those people growing up that was always like, oh man, that's gay. I love this, throwing negativity at, the LGBT community until I end up having my own experience that changed my mindset. Granted, I'm a straight male and everything, but at the same time, that's stuff people don't talk about. People always throw stuff under the rug and stuff like that and hide stuff in the shade. But one thing I've always been bold to say, hey, this happened to me and this and that. And because it's happened to me, I understand where you guys are coming from in a sense, because I face a lot of negativity. I face a lot of shade, a lot of judgment and stuff like that. But at the same time, when after dealing with that, I feel like God put me in that situation so I could understand and be a bridge in the gap for people like you or any conversation we have on here. I feel like anytime negativity is thrown at any situation, we got to have that conversation because it doesn't have to be negative. We as a society choose for it to be negative, and that's not a choice we have to make. But we have to take the steps that are needed to be taken in order to get to that positive result. The problem is nobody wants to do the work. And that's why we're having this conversation, because I am taking accountability and I am doing the work to understand people. Because when you understand people, you have more positive interactions with people. You can have a better lifestyle with everybody around you, and you can have peace. And my main two things I want are positivity and peace. But we can't get to that without talking about it, if that makes sense. Y'all feel me?
Very much.
Well, that makes sense.
Got you. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna move on to the next topic. Because Chan kind of brought up a little bit. Are Black men the biggest enemy of the LGBT community? This was a shock to me because talking to Love Reigns last week, I didn't know, but it's like this. I didn't know, but subconsciously I did know that Black men throw a lot of shade at the LGBT community and stuff like that, because I see it every day. I don't see women and I don't see people of other races throwing as much negativity at gay people as Black men do, So do you guys also feel like Black men throw the most hate at gay people?
I think Black men are the most comfortable with throwing the most hate to the LGBTQ community, because white people, well, let me not even get into that. What I will say with Black men, I've noticed that misogyny, we love it. Black men love misogyny. And it all boils down to the core aspect of this is feeling better than someone else. Black men need it. I mean, I don't want to say they attack us a lot, but they do throw a lot of shade on who we are as people. And I've always, I'm trying to figure out why. I'm still in the midst of trying to figure out why they do it. But ultimately, yeah, we do get a lot of hate from black men. They're the most comfortable with it.
Yeah, I think as a more feminine presenting queer person, the biggest frustration I have with black men is this idea of like you said, like being threatened by the fact that I'm not attracted to you, or I don't want to be with you, or maybe I wouldn't pick you over, another queer person. And so it's always this idea of like, you just ain't had the right one yet, or something like that. Like it's always just like trying to buck against a decision that you obviously see is made. And that for me is just kind of unnecessary. I feel that there's, with men in general, there's always this need to combat. And I think a lot of times as a woman, I just bow out of those conversations. So I don't think it's ever gotten too crazy with me, just because of the way I detach. But I have seen it go there with a lot of my friends, and it does make you feel unsafe. And just as a woman, I've been wearing an imaginary engagement or a wedding ring out since the age like 23, because I was physically assaulted by a black man who asked me like, "Do you got a husband?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Can I have your number?" And I'm like, "No." And then he physically assaulted me. And so from
Wow.
then, I started like living this life of a married woman who has a husband that you apparently respect more than the human being standing in front of you.
That's bad. I'm sorry. It's just that's really bad in my opinion. And Taryn, I'm gonna give you get your insight too, but just hearing that, because like I said, it's a thing as a black man I didn't know, but subconsciously a part of me did know. And it's crazy because of the simple fact that black men, we're looked at as the most hated out of all races and sex wise. Like everybody, always talk this thing about black men get the most crap and stuff like that and everything. And I kind of believe I'm gonna let Taryn give her insight first. But there's a reason I said that. But go ahead, Taryn, give your insight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the first thing I want to say is, I definitely don't want, anybody to feel like this is a black man bashing at all. You know what I mean? So I know because I have a lot of some really dope ass black men in my corner. You know what I mean? It's just that unfortunately there have been some experiences where I haven't always had that. So I'll say that first. And I don't know. I don't know what the root of a lot of it is. So I'm not going to speculate or try to, say what I think the reason behind it is. But I do feel like it is something that is just based off of my experience. I feel like some black men feel like it is a threat to their manhood. It's a threat to them being able to populate, and I feel like what the reason, going back to the other question of why is this important, we need to have more conversations like this, you know what I mean? So that it's not so uncomfortable. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we can address those things that are uncomfortable. Like we're literally in a time where it's truly unprecedented, right? In a lot of ways. And we have to change. The world around us is changing, in terms of evolution and animals and plants and all that stuff is changing around us. We also have to change, and in order for us to do that, we have to talk about the hard stuff. We have to address the things that we've been afraid to talk about before.
Right.
You know what I mean? So stuff like this is important, and I think it is continuously necessary.
Yes, I wanted to address the question here. Yes, it's still a woman. I identify as a woman. I made that distinction because I know that the experience is different for a masculine presenting queer person. And so I made that distinction at the beginning of speaking to say I have not experienced it to the extent as someone who will present themselves to be more masculine, but I identify as a woman.
Okay. Just to piggyback of I'm glad you answered that, Harley, because I was like, I was kind of confused about that question, but thank you for clarifying.
I understand because nowadays with there being binary and non-binary people, if someone
It's a lot.
Right. Someone uses a term that does not go into a gender identity, I feel that sparks up another conversation too. And I believe that's where that question came from, just wanting to understand.
Yeah, but thank you for that, because that brought understanding to me too, because I really didn't understand the question, but you breaking it down, that helped out a lot.
I think people should also know that it's a lot for the LGBT community too. Like, I think a lot of people feel like automatically, because even when it comes to like LGBTQ, I don't even know what the full extent of
the letters. Like, I don't
know. It's like LGBT, and I get it. My thing is, hey, whatever. But at the same time, just don't lump us all in, like thinking like, oh, you're a part of the alphabet community. Like, there's no point in, in saying something like that. But it's just, my thing is, people like to do things differently. Let them do it differently. Like, it's not harming you. It's not hurting you. If you want to be called they, then call them they. Like, why is that such a big deal?
I think further on in future conversations, I'm going to address the issue of expanding out, because I had someone that asked me about non-binary and this and that and everything. I'm gonna be honest, if you're watching, like, if that person who asked me is watching, or anybody else who identifies as something else is watching, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't understand it all yet. I'm trying to figure it all out. But the more that's the whole point of this conversation.
Imagine living it. Imagine waking up one day, you're feeling like, I kind of don't know who I am right now. Like, I think people underestimate the fact that even though there are a lot of conversations happening within the community where we're kind of talking more about our experiences, you also have to understand, like, you're trying to understand it. I'm trying to live it. Like, I'm trying to understand why I feel this way when I've been taught to feel another way. That's why I always chuckle when people are like, y'all gonna talk about it so much and influence the kids. I was raised in a 2-parent household with a man and a woman loving each other, supposed to be married, have kids. I still like girls. It don't matter what you put in front of a kid if that's what you're gonna do. Now, there are people who make their own decisions, cool, but at the end of the day, it's like, seriously, you gonna do it,
right?
And I think in general, with this just with the way that the world is going now, I feel like we're growing out of a lot of things, right? What we've come to realize, especially this generation that's coming up behind us, they realize that a lot of the stuff that a lot of the rules and regulations that we abide by are antiquated. And those are things that were man-made, right? That was something that was, talk about patriarchy. That's where a lot of that stuff came from. So you have a generation now that's coming up, and you have people who are awakening to themselves, not necessarily just, trying to go against the grain. What they're trying to do is discover themselves. What they're trying to do is trying to fit into this world where they don't know where they fit. You know what I mean? Because they grew up in a different world than we did. So it's like, or they're growing up in a different world and a different time. So I think there has to be some flexibility on both sides. You know what I mean? Like, we have to have some understanding that there are people who are still trying. We're all trying. We're all trying to discover ourselves, and nobody has it figured out. Like, don't know. None of us have this stuff figured out. You know what I mean? And we're trying. We're all just trying to live and survive. You know what I mean? So I think if we just spent less time trying to dictate what we feel other people could be, then we could focus on more important things.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to say, first of all, I'll address 2 issues, but let me apologize first. If you guys see me, I'm just navigating the household, so forgive me. I'm not paying attention. I'm hearing everything you guys are saying. But 2 things I want to say. First thing, Black men, the reason, and this is my opinion, and I know with you guys being women, it's going to be like, whatever, and stuff like that. But from a Black man standpoint, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying that in the least, in any type of fashion. But when you have let's put it in this standpoint. Say you're a kid that wants to be cool, wants to fit in, and wants to be with the cool kids in school and stuff like that, right? But you're always getting picked on, always getting bullied, always negativity happening to you, right? Naturally, you would think that with that happening to you, if somebody else comes in brand new that is happening to, you'd be like, hey, I understand your pain and all that stuff, and I'm going to rock it out with you. You know what I'm saying? Or be your friend or stand up and everything. But a good 90% of the time, that's not what happens. What happens is you're relieved that they're not picking on me now. They're not throwing negativity on me. They're not bullying me. So guess what I'm going to do? I want to be the cool kids so bad. I'm going to join the cool kids and bullying and making fun of this person so I can fit in with the cool people. Because the whole point from the beginning was I want to be cool and fit in with you guys. I brought that analogy up. I kind of think that's the what it is with black men. And like I said, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just giving it something to viewers and you guys something to think about. Black men, black people in general, but black men especially. Not saying black women haven't had their trials or anything like that, they have, but black men have been persecuted and hated and bashed so much. Even today, we even have our own women bashing us and everything and stuff like that, to the point where it's like we feel like the whole world is against us. So when somebody else comes and everybody else is throwing shade and negativity, even just a little bit, I think it's a sign of relief. Like, okay, boom, it's not coming at us. So we're going to jump on the bandwagon too. And the problem is black men, I'm saying we, obviously I don't do this, but I'm saying we, because I'm a black man also, have gone so overboard with it. It's like I'm going through so much pain, but to take the pain off me, let's let everybody focus on what they're doing wrong. Everybody focus on their being abnormal and stuff like that. So you can't focus on me so much. And I think that's the problem black men have. We've been beat down so much. Now we see somebody else beating down. We're like, ooh, it's a break. So now they're not beating on me. Let me jump in too and really hop down and beating down on this type of person so they won't bring it back to me. You know what I'm saying? It's wrong. But at the same time, I think there's a sense of understanding when you put it that way. I'm not agreeing with anything black men have done to anyone in the LGBT community. The killing of trans, the mistreating of lesbian women, all that stuff. I'm against it all. But there's always two sides to every story. Just because the two sides doesn't make it okay. But it has, if we're having these conversations, there has to be some kind of understanding where it's like, okay, you know, this happened to me, but let me open my mind up to see where it's coming from. Not to forgive. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not to make it okay, but with me seeing it from this point of view, now I can address the situation a little different. Does that make sense in a way? Because I don't want to say I'm taking away from any of the experiences you guys have had, but I'm trying to give you guys some kind of enlightenment.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
It's an opinion. It could be wrong. It's just an opinion from being a black man myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it adds perspective. Like you said, it doesn't take away any of the fear. It doesn't take away any of the pain, but it does add perspective. I call it the punch down process, right? The boss yells at the husband yells at the wife yells at the son yells at the cat. And so, you know, it's the trickle down of the aggression. Just like Globe just said in the comments, it makes me wonder as a black woman, then what am I pulling from? Because as a black woman, I get beat down by my friends. I probably get beat down by my mother, depending on my lifestyle. I get beat down by society. I get beat down by my men because they're being beat down by society. And I still find the capacity to love, to create, to forgive, to make space for. And so, no, I don't say that to say that black men are not doing enough, because I have some amazing black men in my life, and they have helped raise me. They have influenced me. They have done amazing things in my life. But what I will say is, yes. And what I will say is that it makes you happy to be a black woman. And it makes me want to be a part of creating safer spaces. So that argument, as understandable as it is, has nowhere to run. And we can start to take accountability for the capacity in which we react out of our pain.
Right. And that is main thing. I said that with the mindset also of, like I said, not excusing any of the behaviors, because none of these behaviors are excusable. None of them. I'm saying for everybody, none of them are excusable. Because y'all know me, I'm all about positivity and peace. But at the same time, people have just been through a lot. People in general. You know, whether you're black or white, whether you're straight or gay, you know what I'm saying, whether you're male or female, people just go through a lot, and you can't take away from anybody's experiences. But at the same time, I'm just trying to get to that point and get people to that point where we've all, and excuse me for saying it, but we all been through some type of bullshit. We all have. That's just life, you know. But when are we gonna get to the point where we are, how can I say this? Where we are not saying not focused on ourselves. I always say focus on yourself and focus on what you're going through. We're going to get to the point where we become open-minded to the point like, okay, you know, yes, I'm going through this. But at the same time, in order for me to really understand me, I got to understand people too. And once I understand people, I understand myself better. Does that make sense? I don't want to say something like, I'm just trying to, you know, I'm just trying to make everything fair, but at the same time understandable. You know what I mean? There's a statement I've made. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman.
It is. Malcolm X said that. And the thing about it too is because I saw somebody say, you know, it makes me think where do black women get the you know, how do they still have the capacity to love? You know, simple answer is because we're magic. You know, black women are magical, especially black mothers. You know what I'm saying? Mothers in general are magical. You know what I mean? Like if we truly just took the time out to think about how miraculous childbirth is.
Come on.
Right? Like women, black, white, it doesn't matter, have given birth to this entire world. Right. And the fact that women are always the lowest on the totem pole, the fact that black women are the most disrespected in America, we should definitely just stop and appreciate that more. You know what I'm saying? Because without the woman, none of us would be here. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody, none of us would be here. So I think that it's just it's unfortunate sometimes, but I also feel like it could be also fortunate because we're some strong creatures, man. We are some strong and powerful beings to be able to think about that. Like think about that statement. The black woman is the most disrespected person in America, and we still get up and we still provide and we still cook and we still clean. And we even after being beat down, even after being the most disrespected, you know what I mean? And that's not taking anything away from the black man. But a lot of times too, when the black man is beat down, who's the first person he run to? The black woman.
You know, his mother, his girl, his sister. He run into a woman.
His girl, his sister. That's the lineup.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Harley was saying, like, who do we run to? You know, who that's saying, you know, check on your strong friends. You should always there should be a national check on your black woman day. Check or an hour every day. You know what I'm saying? I check on a black woman today. It's time to check on a black woman. Have you checked on a black woman today? You know what I mean? To see how we are doing and how we are handling things. But just to go back to what you were saying, I just feel like if we all just focus on we just focused on our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? If we just focused on our own, like it was I actually did a poem. I wrote a poem last week.
I read it. It was great. I read it.
I want to see the link. I want to read it.
I got you. I'll put it on my page. And, you know, maybe T-Horne will let me read it at the end or something. But
you sure can. You sure can.
I said something in there about, you know, like we're all in our own individual snow globes. You know what I'm saying? Like I imagine me and I got my own mess, my own stuff that I in my snow globe, trying to come over and help you with yours. Like I gotta focus on my own. So if we all just focused on our own snow globe, you know, we could do some stuff, some magical stuff together. You know what I mean? But we worried about the wrong thing.
I agree.
So I got a question, and this came about a moment with us talking about having this conversation. And this way, you got 10 minutes for the break, so I'm gonna get into it real quick. So the comment was made that black women are the most disrespected in the world. I agree with that. We could also agree that people in the LGBT community are greatly disrespected to the point where they're murdered, they're talked about, they're picked on, all that stuff and everything, just for being who they are. You know what I mean? So with that being said, having the two of you on the chat right now, how do you guys handle? It's like y'all got double duty, double down. I'm a black woman and I'm a lesbian and I'm gay. You know what I'm saying? That's like it's kind of like I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible. Don't take it the wrong way, because I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. It's like I'm not gonna say you guys chose this because this is who you are. That is not a choice. What I'm gonna say is, with the lifestyle you live, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, because y'all got it from both ends. How do y'all handle that? That's a lot to take on. Being a black woman and being a lesbian or gay or a bi or a trans at the same time, that's a lot. That's a lot. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, going through the judgment I go through regularly as a black man, as a man who's transitioned from Christian hip hop to conscious hip hop. So everybody swear I don't love Jesus no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in God. Just regular stuff. Just from being growing up, how can I say, in that pretty boy mindset, you know what I'm saying? If it's just for that simple stuff. You guys have a lot on your plate. How do you handle that on the day-to-day? That's a lot.
So what's funny about me is I don't think I kind of can hang out in either of my communities, and I'm gonna tell you why. Being pansexual means that I might date a man. I actually am in a 5-year long-standing relationship right now with a man. Okay. But that man also knows that I am polyamorous, which means that I will never have one love in my life. So while I love him, I actively date women. Gay people don't think I'm gay enough because I go home to a man at night. And straight people don't rock with me because they know that I go to a girl every now and then.
So it's like the gay people say you too straight, and the straight people say you too gay. Right. That's crazy.
So like Lil Rain said, I hang out in my own snow globe. Thank goodness polyamory is becoming more of a conversation. So there are places where I can go and feel comfortable to, be out with my man and a girl that I might be courting, and people not immediately think the most horrendous thought. Like, I'm genuinely building a relationship with a feminine energy while I still am maintaining my relationship with the masculine energy in my life, and I need both to feel secure. So I just exist in my own snow globe, and I understand that everybody's not gonna like my life, but that's okay. You ain't gotta watch.
Hey, it is what it
is. Exactly. Prayer, a lot of prayer, a lot of tears. You know what I mean? Just existing is hard, and it's not just all about being part of the LGBT community. It's everyday life. Like, I'm an empath. You know what I mean? If I hear something about a black person, a black man especially, or a black person getting shot or getting killed again, like, that absolutely wears me down on a lot. You know what I mean? So it's not just that, it's just life in general. So I would honestly just say prayer. Prayer and more prayer and more prayer.
The reason I asked that question, and we're about going to the break a little bit, but the reason I asked that question to you guys, I want people to understand, like, why people are throwing judgment, why people are throwing negativity and hate. You're not realizing the pain you're causing people just for your comments, because of your comments and your ideals and your beliefs and opinions. And it's crazy that something as simple as a thought can cause so much hurt to somebody else. And people aren't seeing that. People are seeing it as they're trying to bring correction to a situation of how society says it's supposed to be. But the ideas of society don't dictate how people should be. What makes a person better overall and makes a person be better to society and the community, that's what's important. Not what the laws say, not what the majority of opinion says. What makes people better overall? So me being who I am, I have friends that are gay, straight, Christian, atheist, multiple religions, black, white. Like my sister. It's to harp too much on that, my sister just started, getting into the Hebrew Israelite religion. At first, I was like, you sure you want to do that? I studied that. But at the same time, it made her a better person overall. And because it made her a better person overall, it's not hurting anybody. And it's making, her make better decisions and live a better lifestyle. I'm for it. Though I don't think that's right for me. But at the same time, who am I to tell somebody that the way you choose to live is bad because it's not the way I choose to live? If it makes you better overall, that's what's important to me. That's what should be important to everybody. If you're gay and it makes you a better person, that's fine. If you're a Christian, it makes you a better person, that's fine. But don't judge nobody for negativity just because it's not the way you choose to live. And that's what I believe. But we got to take a quick break. We got more questions coming in, like it says, but it's a quick break. You guys go ahead and get refreshed because we got more to talk about. We're going to hit that last conversation started, then we're going to free conversation, answer questions and everything. This is Conversations with T-Horne, the Uncool, and we will be back.
Sitting here all alone, no one to pick up the phone, and it's just me. The problem that I have to face is staring me in the face, and it's just me. No longer will I try to hide the demons that I've locked inside, for they're wearing me down, way down. I'm falling. I need you to catch me, 'cause I'm falling and I can't get up. 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 I'm staring in outer space. I'm lost without a trace, and there's nowhere to run or hide. No longer will I fear. I'm finally facing my fears, 'cause I'm all straightened out and cried out. I'm falling. Why don't you catch me? 'Cause I'm falling and I can't get up. 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 Can't get up. Knock and it shall be open. Seek and you shall find. Call his name, Jesus. Say it now, now shall be open. Seek and you shall find. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
If you or someone you know needs help coping with depression, anxiety, or PTSD, overcoming low self-esteem, or managing major life transitions, we invite you to schedule a free consultation call for telehealth clients. Shekinah Downs, licensed clinical social worker, is now accepting new telehealth clients. In the office, too. Schedule a free consultation by calling 386-385-4483. That's 386-385-4483. In the brand new Daytona Beach office as well. 50 to 60-minute individual therapy sessions and a variety of insurance plans are accepted. Couples therapy and coaching is coming soon. We invite you to log on to cjaqis.com. Schedule a free consultation by calling 386-385-4483. That's 386-385-4483. It's Youth Sunday time at It's All About Jesus and Me Teaching Ministry. Join us Sunday, May 19th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m.
Firefighter for the city of Gainesville. And so many times, man, I'm tired of seeing so many young people lose their lives to senseless gun violence, to senseless foolishness.
Woke up this morning and I'm grateful for another day.
It's Youth Sunday time at It's All About Jesus and Me Teaching Ministry. Join us Sunday, May 19th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. as we present Brilliance.
Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best. His name is Yahweh. I advise you to check. My God is certified, glorifying. That's what I'm gonna do. Just giving your life. And you know the truth. My God is 100 proof.
The scripture for that Sunday comes from Isaiah chapter 38, verse 2 through 6.
You know what we should do right here? Come on. We should praise, worship, give him glory. Praise, worship, give him glory.
We feeling blessed.
We'll be at the Willie Gallimore Community Center at 399 Sierra Street, St. Augustine, Florida. It's Youth Sunday.
Don't judge me until you know me. Don't underestimate me until you challenge me. And don't talk about me until you talk to me. Or better yet, mind your business and stop minding mine.
Yeah, I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to keep my name out their mouth. Oh, I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to.
All right, what's up, everybody? We're back. It's your host, T-Horne, the Uncool, and we are on part 2 of our conversation of the acceptance of homosexuality. We have some great guests. We have some great conversations, getting real in depth with some issues, because the main issue I have right now is, why can't we all just live free? Why can't we just accept each other's lifestyles? As long as it's not hurting anybody, what's the point of throwing all this negativity, hate, and shade? And that's what we've been getting into. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring our guests back. We can continue this great conversation. Marcus, you made it back, sir. Microphone, Marcus, microphone. You can't hear you. Unmute your mic.
There you go. All right.
There you go.
I don't know. The man had it out for me or something. I don't know.
Well, we're glad to have you back, boss man, because I don't know if you've been watching. We've been going real in depth into our conversation. So it looks like right now we have a. Say again.
I said I didn't get the gist of it. I was dealing with technology issues.
It's all good. It's all good. But the good thing is we got your back, so we continue this great conversation. So we got a question from Angie B Productions. Shout out to Angie B, who is the production manager of Conversations with T-Horne Uncool. Let's show her some love for Angie B. Yes. None of this would be possible without her. And the question is this a time to ask about non-binary people? I have questions. So, like I said earlier, I am still trying to figure out. I can't get past the LGBT. Everything after that, I'm still trying to figure out. Not trying to offend anybody, but I have to do my research. And maybe you guys have more insight when it comes to the topic of non-binary people. First and foremost, for the viewers and people like me who don't understand, you guys know what it means to be non-binary. You guys, so when you explain, please.
So when you're non-binary, you do not exist solely in one of your energies. So you are not all masculine, nor are you all feminine. That's all of us. But there are some people who are very adamant about not being identified as one or the other. Androgynous is probably a more common word. A person who likes to blur the gender lines. It's just more so around expression. I think it also comes from just like expectations. I feel like people made an effort to make themselves non-binary because you don't want the weight of being a woman or you don't want the weight of being a man. You just want to be a being. And that's why it's like I don't think they want to argue because I'm not a person who identifies as non-binary. I am a woman and I am proud to be a woman. But I understand, folks who don't want the weight of either of the genders and they just want to exist. That's understandable.
Okay. And another question that came up, because thank you for explaining that, because like I said, I haven't done all the research. So I'm just trying to figure things out. I'm so busy trying to promote peace. You know what I'm saying? Peace, positivity. I forget research comes with that too. Sometimes, so, But the second question is, why do we call non-binaries they? Well, with that explanation, I kind of understand that answer that question, but I'm gonna let you guys answer because you guys have more insight. And doesn't that mean more than one person?
No. When you're speaking they, you're speaking in a general sense. You're not giving a definitive him or her or he or she. And just like she explained before, they don't want to be labeled as such. So they is the only thing that's left because we haven't come up collectively for a term to identify those people yet.
Okay. So just for clarity, non-binary is more kind of like, in layman's terms, is however I feel that day. If I feel like I'm more masculine today, I'm more masculine. I feel like I'm more feminine today. I feel like I want to date a man. I feel like I date a woman. I feel like I date a trans. It's just there's no I don't want to say limit, but versatility. If I could describe it in the best way, versatility would be the word that comes up to me. Does that make sense?
And it's more versatility in identity than sexual preference. It's just how I identify, from my understanding. It's just how they identify, not what they prefer.
Okay, we got a question. It says, how can I support my child? I know they're struggling, but I don't know what to do. So with that, before we go into that, I have to ask a question back. Like, what do you say your child is struggling with? Are they struggling with their sexuality and stuff like that? We need more insight into that question before that question can be answered.
I don't feel like
maybe we don't. I don't know. Maybe we don't. Go ahead, Mike.
I feel like when it comes to your children, I feel like, well, I'm not a parent, but I was a child, and the fact of the matter is, I think I explained it earlier. One of the biggest obstacles is feeling lonely. It's feeling like you don't have anyone to talk to. It's feeling like you don't have someone that understands. So as a parent, your number one priority is making sure that your child has a safe space to not only express themselves, but be able to talk to you about how they're feeling, and then not be met with ridicule, not be met with, disapproval, not be met with a, I guess, aftertaste of, so something's wrong with me.
Well,
I can give.
Me being a parent myself, I'm a parent of, I have 6 biological children and 3 stepchildren. So I'm actually a father of 9. Yeah.
Football team.
And actually, my oldest son is sitting next to me watching the podcast, as we speak right now, because he's here with me for the day. So he lives with his mother and is with me every other weekend and one day out of the week that we just started, because him growing up, we try to spend more time together. And with that question, like say for example, let's talk about sexuality for a second. Right now, we're in the conversations where we're talking about girls and this and that. He's letting me know he likes girls and stuff like that, and we're breaking the ice, getting into that, because I'm that I'm that embarrassing parent, to the point. If you guys have ever seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where his dad is dropping him off to school and he's on the police radar telling him, "I love you, son. Say it back," and he's embarrassed. That's me. I'm that dad. But I said to say this. Me and my son, I feel like we have a close relationship. We can talk about certain things. And with me being his dad, I know I'll come off some like kind of hard sometimes. Sometimes he feel like he can't open up. But I feel like personally, even though my son is expressing interest in girls, I'm one of those parents. If my son came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, I'm having these emotions. I don't understand. Long story short, Dad, I feel like I might be gay." Most dads in general, but especially black dads, would be like, "Oh no, you even do that. We're gonna toughen you up and make you a man, and this and that and everything." I don't think that's the route I would go, because I am understanding to the point where I realize the world we're in and realize that that's not what my son needs. My son doesn't need to be beat down for his emotions or beat down for his thoughts or feelings. Somebody needs to provide some understanding, because it could be a phase, but at the same time, this just could be him. So if this is him, my being his father, I can't love him any less for who he is. You know what I mean? I may not always agree with everything, and we may disagree on a lot of stuff, but at the same time, that doesn't change the fact that you are my son, as well as any of my children. It doesn't change the fact that you're my child. And with you being my child, I'm supposed to love you and guide you in the way I think is best, but guide you in a way where I know for a fact when you go out and making your own decisions, I know at least they're based off the good principles I placed in you. So if my son, like for the person who asked that question, their child is struggling, I don't know what your child is struggling with as far as their thoughts of sexuality or anything of that point. You know what I'm saying? I think now's the time for you as a parent to be more understanding, be more open, have that listening ear, and the main thing, not be judgmental. Because the last thing you want to do is let your opinion push that child away. Because if you show more understanding and more love, and you listen and you help them through that process, help them discover who they are, I think, actually, I can kind of, it's an opinion still, but I can actually kind of 99% guarantee that's going to bring you and your child closer. And whatever path they choose to take, you being that way will provide more help than more of a help than a hindrance in that situation. And the problem with parents now, because society, the status quo and what people think, how society has made it seem like people should be, you should be straight, man should be with a woman, that's pushing kids away from their parents. When kids need their parents more than anything at this time point right now. So you gotta be understanding and realize, like, hey, I gotta drop my guard on this. I mean, I agree with this, but this is what my child is going through. I gotta be there for my child. And that's any situation. It doesn't change no matter situations or anything like that. I'm sorry, someone else said, go ahead.
I was about to ask, so what measures did you take to get to that point? Like, how did you get there? Because see, I guess you I guess they told you in part one, you're the exception to the norm. You're not what actually, the everyday person, gay person.
That's why I'm T-Horne the Uncool. I'm uncool to the ways of the world,
But even that being said, what measures did you take to get there? Because I don't see that approach being taken anywhere else. And I think that should be discussed. Like, what makes you open enough to be able to have those conversations? And you hinted on something else. You said, let you know something offensive or controversial or something. You said you may not agree. What is there to agree with? This is your child. They are birthed of you. I don't know if people think that when gay people, or, everybody's just born straight, and I don't know, like, gay is like vampires, like you're bitten and then you turn into one and then you go and convert other people. That's not how any of that works. So I'm curious to know how you got to there. How did you get there?
Well, let me be honest. First and foremost, I haven't always been like that. In my younger years, being immature and being stupid and stuff like that, I have even, been like, oh man, like this speaking fluently, like I said, I went to Douglas Anderson School of the Arts. That was my first true interaction with people who have said, like, hey, and been bold about, hey, I'm gay. I never forget. My first day of school, 10th grade at Douglas Anderson. I'm walking down the hallway, I'm saying? I'm trying to check out the girls, trying to check out the scene, they like me and everything. And I'll never forget, I seen this Caucasian young man walk down the hallway, and he had a wedding dress on. And the first thing that came to my head, being in the Christian household, the first thing that came to my head was like, man, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a judgmental thought. And me being a young man that, I had these colored eyes, these hazel eyes, girls thought I was cute, this and that. I always kept myself up in my hygiene, my looks and everything. And, I got girls. I'm not ashamed to say it. I got girls. So when I seen gay men or gay women walking around, I'm like, yo, what's up with you? And then, being in the Christian household, so like everything. It took me to go through things in life as far as divorces, as far as being bashed for being a cheater, as far as having those same type of experiences, as far as, seeing the church say one thing and do another, and just realize, like, this world is flawed. This whole world is flawed because we say one thing and do another. Like, for example, the church preaches love, but then exhibits hate. You know what I'm saying? We live in a world that says that racism is dead, yet we see racism every day. We have people saying, oh, these children are so messed up. But at the same time, the example we're leading is a negative example, and these children are just piggybacking off of that. Everything's messed up. And I just made up my one day, I don't want to be messed up like this world. And also, I know how it feels to be judged being different. Even though I said I got girls and stuff like that in high school, before that, I was the nerdy kid. I was the kid that got bullied and got picked on and stuff like that and everything. I have been the black man that's been mistreated because of my skin color and stuff like that. I've been the man that's made a change in my life from being a cheater, from being a liar and this and that, and still be judged based off my past, even though I'm a doomed person. So I know how negativity feels when you're trying your best to be positive. So when it comes not only to the LGBT community, but to all aspects of negativity and shade being thrown at positive people who are just trying to live their life to the best of their ability and live a good life, it's a problem with me now. It's a big problem. So now, in every aspect of life, whether you're gay or straight, whether you're black or white, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're religious or non-religious, if negativity is being thrown at you just because of you being who you are, I'm not with it. Especially if you being who you are is it hurting anybody and bringing in negativity to this world. And I can honestly say, even though I'm a straight man, being lesbian, transgender, gay, bi, whatever you identify as, you loving somebody else is not bringing any negativity to the world. You know what I'm saying? So And like it's like Terrence said earlier, like if we took time to actually worry about ourselves instead of nitpicking at everybody else and everything, this world would be a better place. It would be. And that's why I'm in the mindset I am, because I know how it feels to be judged, and I don't want that for anybody. I think being judged for who you are or what you believe or what you do is one of the worst things that can happen in this world. Because every time about being murdered or being raped and this and that thing, once you're murdered, that's it. Life is over. Once you're raped, that's over. You know what I'm saying? Being judged is the thing that's nonstop, that's never going to change. So somebody has to take a stand against it. And that's the stand I've chosen to take. That's all it is.
And then while you providing a platform, that gives other people an opportunity to know that it's not, it's nothing wrong with being more open-minded. So I love that you're stepping out.
And it's crazy because even with me doing this topic, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I grew up in a Christian household. So I have a lot of connections when it comes to church and music. And I know there's a lot of viewers right now who probably see the titles or the topics I talk about and be like, well, T-Horne, he fell all the way off. But the fact of the matter is, if these conversations were happening in the church, people would be more comfortable to go into the church. People would be more want to be in the church. But the fact of the matter is, these conversations aren't happening. I was always told growing up that you're gonna be a preacher. I was told that since I was like 9 years old. You're gonna be a preacher. And one thing I always said is, nah, I don't want to do that. I have never wanted to be a preacher. I've never wanted to be in the pulpit. But when God used somebody to speak through you and say certain things, when they said I was going to be a preacher, all I thought I was going to be at a church, in those four walls, at a pulpit, collecting type of offering, praying for people, preaching the word, stuff like that. I come to realize God's word has come true, just not in the way I thought or people thought it was going to be. But right now, this is ministry. Right now, this is preaching. Right now, this is a bridge in the gap. This is the bridge in the gap that people need, that people aren't seeing because they're so caught up in that organization that's religion, not realizing this is true love. And this is what's going to bring people together and bridge the gap. I'm sorry. Y'all see, that's the preach. I'm a pastor, son. I can keep going. Y'all gotta cut me off.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
So let me read this comment from my Uncle Fee. Uncle Fee, what's up, man? How you doing? So he said, this is a how deep of a rabbit hole you want to go type of question. As a parent and an uncle of nephews and nieces, me, myself, I sit them down and we come to a meeting of the minds. I let understand where I come from and my belief system and hear them out on what they believe. It's my job as an elder to get them prepared for life without the elders, a life of their own. The issue I see is people try to force the feeling, belief, reality onto someone else, and that's where the problem lies. I agree with that. And what I feel like what he's described is religion as a whole. You can't force somebody to believe what you want them to believe. People have to go through their own experiences and deal with their own issues and how they deal whatever the result is, that's going to create the person that person is going to be. And you can't
completely agree.
You can't Bible bash somebody into being a Christian. You can't, and that's the thing about religion that always got me. It's like it's a structured control, you know. So I love God, you know. I believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's just my personal belief. But I'm not here to make anybody else believe that. I'm here to be the example. My life should show that if my belief in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost is real, me being the example and showing the love that my belief says I'm supposed to show should be enough of an example for me to be like, hey, he's the light in the darkness. I want to be like that. You know what I mean? So when people are trying to force you to believe something or force you to do something, I'm automatically against it. You can't force anything. Experiences, love, and just overall critical thinking and problem solving. That's what's gonna make the person who they are. You feel me? I'm sorry. I'm getting deep. I'm talking a little too much. I'm gonna let y'all talk. I'm sorry. I'm passionate about this, y'all. Y'all gotta feel I'm this subject. I'm just passionate about the positive energy overall.
You bring positive energy, but you also make a good point.
Absolutely.
Like I work a lot with artists, both signed and unsigned. One of the things that when I first got podcasting, when I first got into radio, everybody wanted to come on the show. We were big with independent artists, and there'd be these rap dudes all around me all the time. And
Pause, real quick, Marcus. You hear that song in the background? You hear that song in the background? That's T-Horne and Uncool. Next time you do release some music, think about that.
That being the case, honestly. But a lot of those people, they didn't see me, like, because I'm more masculine presenting, because I guess I guess it's a little bit harder to detect around me depending on what atmosphere I'm in. I didn't get a lot of the backlash that some of my more, openly presenting people have felt. So when it came out, or when people found out that I was gay, then it's like, oh, well, you gay? Well, I mean, you don't really act, even with family. It was like, well, as long as you don't do this. It was like, okay. So I guess the point that you are trying to drive is that your experiences. It was like, okay, well, I had to meet a gay person to be around gay people. I had to open my mind. I had to read. I had to educate myself. And I think that's a lot of the backlash also. A lot of people aren't educated and aren't willing to learn because their ignorance won't allow it. And that's where we experience a lot of the blockage. That's why we are ostracized from our communities.
I can agree with that. And like I said, like you said, you backtrack like what I said, the experience and stuff like that and everything. A lot of times I feel like, how can I say this? I know I say that a lot too, forgive me guys. But a lot of experiences I had in life, I do music. Everybody knows I do music. I'm a conscious, positive rapper and stuff like that. But the whole problem I have with the rap industry is that people are talking about stuff and rapping about stuff they ain't experienced, they ain't living, and they ain't real. One thing about me, I never want to rap about anything or write poetry or song about anything that I haven't experienced or isn't real. And I feel like God makes me go through certain experiences so I can understand people. I'm straight male, married to a beautiful woman. Oh my God, I love her to death. Beautiful woman. But at the same time, growing up, I can't say I did not have an experience with a homosexual before. You know what I'm saying? Because fact of the matter is, it was a mistake situation, but it did happen, And I feel like that experience itself prepared me for not only for the platform I'm taking today, but also provided understanding like, oh, okay, now that I've experienced that and been through that, I can't throw judgment. And now I understand them a little better. You know what I'm saying? Because of the simple fact that even though I'm straight, I can understand where this lesbian or this gay male or this bi person or this transgender person is coming from. Because that's like my life's always been like that to the point God puts me through an experience I can understand. Like I remember I first started doing gospel rap. I had never smoked weed before, right? Then I started doing gospel rap. I started smoking weed like crazy. Now, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I couldn't rap before. Now that I have done that, I can. Sometimes the experiences, even though they're negative experiences, they make us better people overall. And that's one thing I always said about myself. I love mistakes. Mistakes are one of my favorite things in the world. They're hard to go through, but they always make you better when you come out of them if you handle them the right way. So,
and I'm glad that experience allows you to determine that was a mistake for you. Where so many others don't necessarily have that insight. Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna cut you off, Marcus, but I want to hit some things because
sure.
Like K Glove MC saying, I really wish people didn't make respecting others so complicated. Just call folks what they want to be called. I don't see any problem.
You also have the option of not talking to a person who wants to be called they, and they will be okay with that because they don't want to have to constantly tell you to call them them.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody where we were talking about the issue of transgenders, and when it comes to transgender women, I always respectfully say her. And the conversation was brought up. Well, yeah, they want to be called that, but logically, that's still a dude. So if I address them or say him or he, that shouldn't be a problem.
I love how people cherry pick when it's convenient. Like, you determine that it's inconvenient for me to call you she because you know what's going on in my pants. Why? Like, why is that so important to you? Why is it so important that someone solidifies your gender for you? Why is that? That's the issue for you and your therapist.
But see, that's the thing, though. With that being said, in the mindset of that person or those people, it's not solidifying. They're like, if you're born, that's the thing. If you're born this way, you got to accept the fact that that's what you were born as, and that's what God made you as. That's
biologically, yeah. Biologically, I have to accept that I'm a man. But if I determine that my experience, if I determine that I want to present myself, or if I determine that that is not, gender is a social construct. First off, let's make that perfectly clear. There's your genitals that give you what that is, but then people grow up into the people that they're going to be, and I don't know what this obsession with throwing labels on everything is, because things get very gray a lot.
You know what's funny to me? T-Horne, your real name is Terrence, right?
Right.
But after a couple of times of you telling people you like being called T-Horne, what people usually say when they see you, what up, T-Horne, right?
T-Horne, everybody call me T-Horne, yeah.
There you go.
Same lane. It's like if you want to call it a nickname, call it a nickname. If the mention of genitals make people feel uncomfortable, just call it a nickname.
But that's the thing too. I mean, the only reason it makes people uncomfortable is because they're making themselves uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like even when it comes to one of the things that I've always hated or disliked about the conversation about the acceptance of the LGBT community is that it's so hypersexualized. You know what I mean? Like, there's no other group that is so hypersexualized. Like, you automatically think, oh, because I say lesbian or gay or bi or trans, first thing you think about is sex. That is so freaky. Like, why? That is the freakiest and the most creepiest thing. Like, why is that the first thing people think about? When I see a straight person, the first thing I'm not thinking about, oh, I wonder what it's like, with them in bed or what they're doing behind closed doors. So my question always is, why is sex always the first thing that people go to when it comes to when it comes to homosexuality, right? Like that's the craziest part to me, right? And the thing about it is, and we touched on this last week, historically, there are more straight white pedophiles in this country than any other race, any other group of people. But the first thing people want to say when it comes to homosexuality is associated with pedophilia. How? Where does that even exist? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like Mr. Smoot said, like, we cherry pick so many things. You know what I mean? Just like with racism in this country, we the biggest threat to America, the American democracy is white supremacy. We won't say it out loud though, but we know that there's white people, statistically, which are like facts have proven that white men are the ones who are committing mass shootings. But we won't say that white supremacy is what is ruining American democracy. We won't say that patriarchy is what's ruining the civilization. You know what I mean? Like, the first thing people think about when it comes to the LGBT community is sex. And it's like, where does that even come from? I could care less what happens behind somebody else's bedroom door. Like, why is that the first thing that comes up?
Because
it comes up.
I think.
But why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? It shouldn't even. It shouldn't even matter.
It comes up because that's what straight men perpetuate. Everything in their like everything in their life, a lot is perpetuated by a lot of their fears are projected basically on the gays by actions that they themselves actually do. Like gay or straight people think that gay men walk into a room and be like, penis. Like we don't do that. We're not.
They think that about lesbians. Right. They think that about lesbians too. And, you know,
They be like, you like me? No.
Right? Furthest thing away from our minds is just
I have sex with pots and pans.
All right.
Like, yep.
You like skillet, girl? Yep. Your skillet look is getting took, baby.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think the craziest thing to me too is just when it comes to like the whole sexualization thing. When we were talking about earlier about Black men, what I've experienced is that, like I said, I have some really, really great Black men in my life, right? So shouts out to them. Y'all know who you are. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all for always supporting me. One of the things that I've noticed is that men who are confident in themselves and confident in their sexuality don't have to comment on gay people. They don't make comments about the LGBT community. They could care less. They're off doing whatever it is that they're doing, saving the world or, you know, contributing to their community. It's the men who have struggled with sexuality in their past or who are currently struggling with it, who are the ones who hypersexualize it, who are the ones who always have something to say. Because if you're a confident man, confident in your sexuality, a gay man can walk right next to you, butt ass naked, and you wouldn't be moved, and you wouldn't even comment about it. If you were just set, if you were fully set into who you are, and you focused on who you are and who you are completely, that wouldn't even bother you. But the people that it bothers, like I've literally seen men get, so upset that veins coming out their head. Simply because a Black gay man walked in the room, ain't did nothing, ain't said nothing to him, just literally sat down, and this person is just existing. And I'm talking about veins popping out of necks, out of the head, and they just literally losing it. And this person is not even paying them no mind.
So I'm gonna cut you off, Taryn,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys. But I want to do something different because we're coming up in the last 15 minutes of the show, but to shut things off and everything. And I've noticed with the viewers, and we have a lot of dedicated viewers. First of all, thank you for everybody watching. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your input. It's very helpful. But one thing I do want to do is give a chance for some of our viewers' questions to be answered. And I want you guys to answer them because you guys have experience and everything. First question. How do I get to be a professional imaginary friend? You already know who that question for.
You just be awesome and stay home a lot. That's the easier answer. But if you want to be a empathic listener, then I did a training called the Atlantic Listening Academy, and it's basically a course on how to listen before you speak. I feel like all people should know these things, but I have a certification that says I'm really good at it. And I listen on a platform called Belay. If you have the certification, you can definitely log in and become what we call a belayer, and you can get calls throughout the day from people who just need an extra ear. You set your own rates once you get certain levels of certifications, like that listening certification, that will help you get a higher rate. If you have a life coach certification, which I have, you get a higher rate. And it's just basically a place to be a blessing. And I call myself that because I don't leave my living room when I do it.
Oh, wow. That's like, so really you're like a professional imaginary friend is kind of like a therapist, or really just a friend that somebody can talk to and stuff like that and everything.
I call myself the hallway to therapy. You
Gotcha.
still need a therapist, but we can talk about it.
Okay. Got you. All right. Second question. How old was everyone when they realized who they were attracted to?
It's never a question for me.
I'm like the sandbox. That's what I wanted then.
What about you, Miss Love Reigns?
I remember being in preschool. Honestly, I had a crush on my teacher, and of course, not really knowing what that was, but I feel like I've always been this way. Of course, tried not to be, but yeah, I feel like my whole life.
I kind of figured that that was the case, because most people I talk to, they always say this something they always start out with saying I've been struggling with it, because you're made to feel like it's wrong since I was younger. But it's usually something that people are dealing with their whole lives. That's just them. You know what I'm saying? So I can respect that. I think
the struggle was really just the struggle has been accepting myself and finding, being comfortable with myself. I think that was more of the struggle.
Gotcha. I can understand that. There was a question I want to go back to. It's something about the nephew going to the prom that we didn't address. Can we bring that one back up?
Oh yeah, it said, how do they want it? Yeah, I saw that question, and I was my thing is, like, I feel like the main thing is, one, don't try to force anything, right? But just be there and be a listening ear for your nephew. My aunt was always a sounding board for me. She was always one of my greatest supporters. And unfortunately she passed away, but she was always that person that I could go to and talk to about anything, you know what I mean? And I didn't have to come out to her. She always knew, and she just was always there. Like, she would just randomly call me and just check on me. Not just, and I'm not saying that she was only doing that because of my sexuality. I'm just saying that she realized that I needed some extra love, you know what I mean? And I needed some extra attention in terms of support. So she just was that.
Okay. I got you. Anybody else want to give me an insight on that question?
Okay, the nephew, I'm reading the question now. It says, my nephew went to the prom with a friend. My sister is in denial. What should I do to support him? My business. Just sit back and wait for that conversation to happen. Yeah. You can't force anybody out. And if they are comfortable enough with you to tell you, you're welcome. And good job.
Let's read this comment right here. For example, I respect other people's reality, but try to change my vocabulary because of how I feel. I respect your feelings and how you feel, but we got to come to some common ground to where I don't have to totally change my reality to accommodate you. Just an example.
So here's my here's my thing, right?
Speak on it. Go ahead.
If someone is wanting to be referred to as something else, how does that impact your life? That doesn't change your reality. You know what I mean? That doesn't force you into anything. This person's life and how they decide to live and how they want to be referred to, it doesn't impact you in any way. In no way does it impact you, right? What you can do is just choose not to talk to them. And that's that's the best way to settle it. Don't talk to them, or ignore them altogether. But to say that because I'm saying to you, call me Love and don't call me Taryn, you're saying that, well, my reality is your name is Taryn, and so I'm gonna call you Taryn. That is asinine. That is
yep. Or the
why does
one,
that
or
matter?
Or the famous one, I'm gonna call you what your mama calls you. What?
You don't know what my life was like.
Call me Pumpkin.
Exactly. My mama called me TT. But this is the thing I brought up last week. I have a student who's trans, who has a very feminine name that was given to her at birth. Just because she's trans, it has really nothing to do with her sexuality. But what it does have to do with is that her feminine name, she associates with a lot of trauma. And so when people call her that name, she literally goes in, she has seizures. So she literally is, and I'm not making this up. And that's simply just it's a psychological thing. So you mean to tell me that I'm working with this young child, this young person, and because their birth name is Judy, and she's saying to me, don't call her Judy, call her something else. I got to say, well, Your birth certificate say Judy, so I'm gonna call you Judy, knowing that this person is literally going into is like seizing every single time they are being triggered. You know what I'm saying? And it's I had never seen anything like that. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I probably wouldn't have believed it. But it is literally a psychological thing. You know what I mean? So the fact that somebody will say, well, my belief is this. Okay, you're completely welcome to have your beliefs. But just like you're open to you're allowed to have your beliefs, I'm allowed to have mine too. And as far as me and my person, if I say don't call me or call me something, whatever, call me whatever I want you to call me, that's what you call me, or don't call me nothing. Don't address me at all.
All right.
Yeah,
So
talk to trans people. Like, it's not, you just don't talk to
Ain't
those.
that deep.
It's like,
it really ain't that deep. Like we make it so much more deep than it gotta be. It ain't that deep. It really is simple.
Right. It's
very,
like you try to justify your hatred. It's like people try to justify their hatred for it just off of that. Like, oh, I'm not going to call you that. That's not what you really are. Instead of just saying, oh, well, I ain't with that gay-ish, because now you know that that's one of the things you probably shouldn't say, but you're not going to say that because then that makes you the bad guy. So then you try to find a back doorway of addressing it while still maintaining 10 toes down in your bull. Okay, I'm not cussing. You know what I'm saying? So
I got you.
You want to stand 10 toes down in it, but at the same time, you don't want to say what it is. It's weird. It's sort of like white people not saying the N-word versus, just outwardly saying, versus these microaggressions and all of these things.
It's exactly like that. It's like white people saying, well, you say the N-word, why can't I say the N-word? Like,
right.
That is so crazy. Like, it's really, I get dumbfounded by a lot of the time. And I get, it's one thing to ask questions to understand, but to ask questions to perpetuate hate and to still try to, well, the Bible says this, and the way that I was raised, so what? Nobody cares. Like, okay, if you were raised that way, okay, you were raised that way. But just because you were raised that way does not mean that I was raised that way. And it doesn't mean that just because that's your belief, that you have to force your belief down my throat. Just like I don't have to force my belief down your throat. You know what I mean? But calling someone, respecting a person's choices is not them forcing their lifestyle down your throat. It has nothing to do with that. You have no one else that you're trying to figure out what their, pick apart what their life is. Just because this person is gay, you want to know what kind of genitals they have, who they sleeping with, why? There's so many other things that are happening in this world.
So, Taryn, I don't mean to cut you off, but
sorry, I'll be getting passionate.
I know you're good, but it's good though because people need to see that passion, so we can understand that the pain that causing people. But the reason I stopped you is because the viewers, as I promised, want to hear your poem.
Let's go.
End the show out. We're at the last 10 minutes of the show, so we got to hear that poem before we end the show out.
All right, let me see. So. I wrote this. So we did the show on the last day of National Poetry Month, and so this was
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, April is National Poetry Month, and so I was really inspired by the conversation, and so this is what came out. In my opinion, the biggest failure of humanity has been the judgment of LGBTQ plus people. Like, y'all don't think it's weird that flawed people are telling other flawed people how to live or who they should love? And of all the things you could give your attention to is if he or she is gay, that is what ranks above everything else. The egregious things done to children or human beings screaming out for help, racism, xenophobia, racism, pedophilia, statistically committed by more straight people than any member of this alphabet soup we've been forced to swim in and eat and swallow and regurgitate to brainwash babies. What an ass backwards society we've created. hooked and baited to believe that men should make laws about women and reproduction. And just because there's a difference of opinion, you've got the right to beat it out. What God gave you that authority? Who said that the majority has the right to deny basic human rights to a person you don't even know? Who does things behind their own closed doors, hurting no one, existing, living, and loving, and minding their own damn business, but because you don't like it, your hate disrupts both of our bliss. Like, dude, get out of my snow globe and shake up your own. I can promise that my debris ain't got nothing to do with yours. Sweep your own porch and I'll sweep mine. And since we're neighbors, I'll wave hey from time to time. We've made it more complicated than it has to be. And we've defined delusion all wrong. Sexuality holding more weight than right and wrong, and casualties of war becoming lyrics to America's song. The more innocent, the better. Test subjects necessary for the experiment. Experience tethered to the trauma that was man-made. How audacious of you to presume that God skipped over me to tell you how to live your life and mine. To walk my path, yours. To spend this short and precious time you have attempting to contain my shores with a broom. The beauty is vast if you allowed yourself to see it. There's more room for love than there is for hate. Your rules are beyond antiquated and dumb. And I want to complete that poem because it's not finished, but that's what I got.
Beyond antiquated and dumb. Okay.
Man,
no, it's crazy to me. Like, it really
I
is.
have never heard a more intelligent drag in my life.
Right.
Wow. I'm gonna go to bed good tonight. Thank you, Sarah. I'm asleep good tonight. That drag was so intelligent. You got to put your pinky out when you listen to a drag.
With that being said, guys, we are coming to the end of the conversation with T-Horne and Uncool and stuff like that. So real quick, if you guys could, we lost Marcus. I know he's dealing with technical difficulties, but if you're looking for Marcus, go on Facebook, look for at Marcus Smoot. That's MARCUS, capital S, MOOT on all social media platforms. Support him, support his radio show, check him out. If you guys could give everybody your information, they can follow you and connect with you if they need to. Go ahead. We'll start with Harley.
Okay. I am Harley Hendricks 6 on all platforms. So the way my name is spelled here, when it was down here, it's not here no more. But when it was there, y'all know it. There we go. Right here with the number 6 behind it. I'm there everywhere. If you just need a reminder of how amazing you are, follow me. My motivational content gets me through tough days. And from what I hear, it gets through other folks through them too. So I'm grateful for it. And order you something. I make everything. If I don't make it, you send me a picture of it, I will.
My wife like that crochet stuff, so I might be hitting you up.
Okay. I'm my target audience, and I'm ready to do some resort wear. So now that we low key cousins, T-Horne, you got to hit me up anyway. I want to make your wife something. Now we family.
I got you. You're right. Taryn, Love Reigns, you want to go ahead and give your information for everyone again?
Yeah, it's so you can follow me, Love Reigns, at I am Love Reigns everywhere. Or my personal page, which is at Taryn. I put it in the comments too. Harley, what would you say? What did you say yours was again?
Harley Hendricks 6. So the number 6 in my name.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Well, guys, with that being said, I'm glad we had a part 2 of this conversation. We invited new energy. It was positive. And I think the main gist of this conversation is just, stop looking so much at people and judging them for who they are. Sometimes you got to accept people are going to live their lives. They wouldn't want to live their lives. As long as it's not hurting you or bringing negativity to you and what you got going on, leave people alone. People are going to believe the religions they want to believe. People are going to live the lifestyle they want to live. People are going to love who they want to love. As long as it's not hurting anybody or causing any disdain in this world. Now, I'm talking about disdain that the laws and the status quo and social media and what stereotypes have put. I'm talking about general life that, people are just trying to live. If it's not hurting that, don't bring hurt to other people, especially when the people aren't bringing hurt to you. The acceptance of homosexuality, the acceptance of being black or white, the acceptance of being Christian or atheist, you know what I'm saying? Just accept people who they are. and support people who they are. And in the same, when you put positive energy out, you should get that positive energy back. And if you don't get that positive energy back, that's okay. Still push that P. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say too, T? Like, the other thing is, you really have the right to not respect or understand people's choices or sexuality and call them that. But at the same, what you don't have a right to do is bring harm to them. You know what I mean? You have a right to believe whatever you want to believe and do whatever think however you want to think and do whatever in your family, in your little snow globe that you want to do. But you have no right to go to somebody else's snow globe and try to infringe on them or try to force your beliefs on them, or even especially if they're minding their business, especially if they're not doing anything to hurt or harm you. Right.
Well, that being said, this is another segment, Concert T-Horne Uncool. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/TDA Uncool, or facebook.com/conversations with T-Horne the Uncool, on Instagram and YouTube, T-Horne_DA_Uncool, and Cash App if you want to support the show, $TDA Uncool. I'm glad that we came to a positive ending on this. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that people see this and they can react positively toward the LGBT community. And if they haven't been doing it before, they can just change their mindset and promote positivity in this world. Hey, man, Taryn, you already know how I feel about you. Love you, dog. Harley, you my new sister, man. And we gonna connect more. You know what I'm saying? Marcus, if you're not watching, if you're watching or having issues, I'm glad to connect with you too. You know what I'm saying? Let's all stay connected. Let's all push forward and keep bringing positivity to this world. All right. This is Conversations with T-Horne. Love you guys. Love everybody who watched the view. Check out future episodes. We talk about more stuff. Besides that, y'all be blessed. Y'all be uncool.
Don't judge me until you know me. Don't underestimate me until you challenge me. And don't talk about me until you talk to me. Or better yet, mind your business and stop minding mine. Yeah, I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to keep my name out their mouth. Oh. I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to keep my name out their mouth. Oh. My name coming out must taste good cause you keep it in your mouth. Got something else for you if you go down south. I'm just playing. What the heck you talking about, huh? Why you worry about who I wanna date, huh? Why on the main course on your plate, huh? Why everything concerning me gotta turn to be argument or debate, huh? Is he a Christian religion? Has he forsaken? He just was dating her. How many women he dating? Had another kid? That nigga don't know when to stop. I heard he smoking, getting high. Boy, that fell from the top. See what I learned. This your concern. It's all about me. Y'all gossiping, made me look at y'all like female dolls in heat. But let's make something concrete. I'm seasoned, yes indeed. Y'all must like the recipe, cause y'all all on my meat. Yeah, I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to keep my name out their mouth. Oh. I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to keep my name out their mouth. Oh. Haters try to diss me, they love me, but they dismiss me. Play hard, but act this sissy. They lies be so convincing, and exes get jealous quickly. They won't admit that they miss me. They hate that I moved on, so use my children against me just to keep up the top. People peep on my wall, just to keep tabs on my flaws, just to keep me involved. Doing everything they ask me, but that ain't enough. I'm on everybody's tongue, and everybody on my jump. His rap career won't take off. That nigga ain't hard, he really soft. Try to see his page, but I'm blocked. He was living for Jesus, then he stopped. He get girls just to knock him off. He lies, the truth ain't what he taught. I be so close to popping off, but then I realize I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to keep my name out their mouth. Oh, I'm the topic of conversation. Circles talk about me. Yeah, I'm in rotation. I'm the one they talk and then they gossip about. Now it's so hard for them to keep my name out their mouth. Oh, my whole life I lived it based off of other people's opinions. They judge what I do, what I say, how I think, and I judge my whole life based off their interpretations. But now I got to the point where I realize my life is my own, and I'm the only one that can live it. So, if you got an opinion, keep it to yourself. I'ma live how I see fit. I'm the topic of conversations. Yeah, I'm in rotation. Gossip about, keep my name out their mouth. Oh.
It's Youth Sunday time at It's All About Jesus and Me Teaching Ministry. Join us Sunday, May 19th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m.
Firefighter for the city of Gainesville. And so many times, man, I'm tired of seeing so many young people lose their lives to senseless gun violence, to senseless foolishness.
Woke up this morning and I'm grateful for another day.
It's Youth Sunday time at It's All About Jesus and Me Teaching Ministry. Join us Sunday, May 19th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. as we present Brilliance.
Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best. His name is Yahweh. I advise you to check. My God is certified, glorified. That's what I'm gonna do. Just giving your life. And you know the truth. My God is 100 proof.
The scripture for that Sunday comes from Isaiah chapter 38, verse 2 through 6.
You know what we should do right here? Come on. We should praise, worship, give him glory. Praise, worship, give him glory.
We feeling blessed.
We'll be at the Willie Gallimore Community Center at 399 Sierra Street, St. Augustine, Florida. It's Youth Sunday.